Alright, so it is May 1st, 2019. It is 10:39, and I'm here out in Huntsville, camping. It's a very special edition of the nightly reviews. And in fact, most of the nightly reviews are like 2, 3, 4, 5 a.m. So it's nice to be out here. Well, we'll get to that. I planned on coming out here yesterday, and I set everything up and all that, but I couldn't fall asleep, you know? I was in that kind of nervous, vigilant state where I wasn't too nervous about the whole thing, but I still couldn't sleep. And I was kind of napping, basically, for 7, 8 hours. I went to bed, at 4, or around 3, a little after 3. And I woke up at 10. I had an alarm for 10, and I just basically was in bed for 7 hours, something like that, maybe 6, 7 hours. And I remember listening to a podcast, and then it kind of ended. And then I re-listened to some of those today, and I think I got the gist of it. So I was in this kind of... I wasn't mad about it anymore. I'm not mad at... Sometimes I can't sleep, and I'm not mad at that anymore. I don't get frustrated with it. But I still was just sitting there, sort of kind of napping halfway. I'm not as tired as if I hadn't slept at all. So it was a weird sort of state today. It was a 7-hour nap, a waking nap. But because I was already nervous, it was tough to come out and go to, it was a little bit filled up. The jacuzzi isn't as good as, as I thought it would be. That's really the only problem with it. The rest of it's fine, and it's like, it's fine. We'll swim there. Ooh, but it's too crowded. It's not really, But it's one of those things where I was in a bad mood already. It was headed towards there. And it was kind of overwhelming, because then I do swimming in the morning, I get up early, and then we look for houses. None of the houses were that good. I went out to also look for houses right after swimming. I already signed up for the gym that's near here, anticipating the move. But it's like, okay, none of the houses are that great here. It's... The first house I saw was pretty good, and then it's like, it's not about the house. It's not about the house, So I was in a pretty suicidal state, even when I was being shown around by Stacy, the real estate agent. Yeah, I was just thinking the whole suicide stuff during the whole time. I was running this other track in my mind of, well, there's nothing to live for, and, well, but, this is how it always is, and, moods do get better, and the usual sort of inner voice with that, But it's whenever I got overwhelmed about these things, it's not about coming out here. It's nice out here. I took a nice hike. I took a nice warm shower. I genuinely just don't like my normalcy, if you can call it that, being interrupted. I don't like the fact that, it's like, oh, you gotta pack everything. I have to have like a portable water flosser for my teeth. It's like, oh my God. It's just a kind of hassle. I don't look forward to it. But I'm here. I took a nice warm shower. I made a campfire. It started raining again. The last time I was here, it started heavy raining. Unbelievable. I thought that it was sunny today or whatever, but it wasn't that bad today, though. But it was annoying. I did get frustrated with the fire, that I had to set on fire everything. And nothing was really working. The papers were humid, and they were wet anyways, and I brought out I think a year and a half's worth, well, I don't know, year and a half's worth, but about a year's worth of papers that I threw away, and haven't been camping since last year, burning stuff at least. I did go camping in June, Pedernales Falls, and then I got tired of camping. It was just too hot. But even then I was overwhelmed, with the whole camping experience. I love the camping itself, but getting me out of my normalcy is just, getting me out of my normalcy is just, it really kicks up a lot. I think it just reminds me that I don't have much. I have no purpose in life. I just don't. With the normalcy, it's like, oh, I'm nice and content, but I get pretty vigilant with things being just different. You know, just going somewhere, traveling a little bit. Again, it's an hour from where I live. It's not exactly massive travel here, but it's still annoying, you know, to be out of that kind of numbing normalcy. Yeah, numbing normalcy, we'll call it that. You know, it's interesting, because I've been sitting here thinking, I brought my video camera, and I did want to do some recordings, but, again, how do I start with the suicide stuff? That has to be mentioned. And then, how do I coherently weave the narrative of my woes? Weave the narrative of my woes. I need to be a writer. You know, I think there's a coherent story out of it, and I'm in a little better mood now. You know, it's like, no, there's still a chance here. I can do something. But anyways, I'm thinking I could actually, like, this is a genuine daily recording at the end of the day, and I mean, it's in a special circumstance. I'm not at home. I could actually upload this, you know, at some point. Now, it kind of changes it, because I'm thinking, oh, well, I'll talk to an audience and whatever, and that changes the dynamic of it. But that's the problem I have with talking on video. It's like, who am I talking to? I know when I'm making these daily things, I know all the references generally. You know, it's, you know, blah blah blah, but it's just tough communicating with people, you know. And that's the problem, isn't it? But anyways, because generally with these daily logs, maybe I'll put this up, I don't know. But generally I do go just through a daily what happened, but today was a bit more than usual. So yeah, it's just even out here on the trail. I went to McDonald's to eat. I got 20 pieces of chicken McNuggets and a triple cheeseburger. I didn't have anything else to eat today, except some crackers. One of the open houses, but one of the condos we saw, they had some Chips Ahoy and some crackers out, Gorditos or whatever they're called. Oh, those are good. So I had that and some McDonald's, and I need to get back to juicing. I haven't had a good... yeah, I'll probably put that online, juicing one day, but it's just tough, because it's not the fucking house, you know. It's not the house of, oh, I can't find it. I'm a smart guy. I can figure this out. And that's the thing is, oh, none of these houses are that great. It's like, except the first one I saw an open house in maybe the middle of March or something, end of March. And that was really updated. It wasn't too big. Oh, it was nice. Oh, it was nice. But okay, it's nice. Will it change my life? No, and I know that, but these are even in terms of amenities, it's just like, ugh, really. And maybe I'll do a video on that, what I'm looking for in a house. That's a good, I have thought of that, because that doesn't touch on too many crazy topics of mine. Well, but that's it. It's like, I want to kind of, I want to talk about these things for which there's not a huge audience, and again, it's like trying to fight a war that I think's already lost. You know, the topics or the interests I've had, well, that's the stuff. How do I even mention oh yeah, by the way, my parents sucked. I don't see them. You know, the military school incident that I really desperately want to talk about, the I Am Alone incident with the Danube, writing the poem, 10,000 things like that. And the limbo of, okay, then shut the fuck up and just do it. You know, and, oh, I don't want to do it, I feel bad about this, and oh, it's hopeless, and I might as well kill myself. And it's like, well, then fucking do that. And it's like, well, maybe at some point. I don't want that, you know. And then how do you introduce that? That's always in there, okay? The suicide stuff is always in there. How do I introduce that? How do I say, well, I guess I could just upload this and say, hey, assholes, listen to this. Hello, assholes. And 7 page views on YouTube. I wonder why no one's listening, yeah. Well, no, but, and that's the thing, is that doesn't even bother me at this point, you know? It doesn't even bother me, because it's like, whatever. The channel never had much. I never had many followers from the past stuff I put together. I'm glad I have a few, but I've never had much. You know, I've never had much, and that's fine. It's just, how do I get to the point where I'm comfortable putting this stuff out? And the last few videos have been there. You know, even the silly stuff with my 3 toilets, even just, you know, just basically testing out the camera and seeing how I can just talk relatively, well, you know, making the chocolate stuff, the chocolate ice cream, that was fun. I must have had some substantial videos in the last month or so. Yeah, the moving stuff, but, yeah, because it's sort of hard to introduce this, and that's always been my problem is, oh yeah, I probably want to kill myself. Yeah, because nothing's going right. And there's a separation between the fact that I sort of got overwhelmed with all the minutia today, that, oh, I'm going to go out to this new gym, you know, and then I'm going to go see houses, then I'm going to go see camping, and that's new. I haven't been camping in almost a year. That's kind of weird. You know, that sort of thing. There is that suicidality where it's just a really despairing mood, you know? But there's the overall sort of suicidality of, well, nothing's going right in my life in terms of, I mean, you know, well, no, there are some good things. I have my health. I did 21 pull-ups was the max I could do yesterday. I did 6 sets of that, decreasing, of course. So I have my health, I have my strength, swimming is still good. I'd still fuck me, you know. We can still have fun. You know, I mean, that's the thing, is that's the problem in some ways. You know, I did pretty well at business. I ran a good business, retired early, practically speaking. And it's like, okay, I'm on this mountaintop all alone, and what's up with that? Grero, come on, let's work with that. That's not going to work. That doesn't work. That hasn't worked. And then what else? I can talk about this. I can whine about how I want to kill myself. And, you know, maybe you can dress that up a little bit more interestingly. And maybe, whatever, just put stuff out like this. I don't know. I don't know. You know, but generally these recordings, this is on the Santa Clip Plus. 13 minutes here, yep. And again, that's the thing with this, is maybe this never goes up, like with the rest of them. You know, it's like, it's like you push me in front of a camera, and it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I've kind of overcome a little bit of that, but with the more tougher topics, the suicide stuff, the meaninglessness, and the specifics about it, I don't want to be like, gee whiz, there's just this nebulous cloud of meaninglessness. Like, that's not entirely the case. You know, the military school incident, where, well, I guess we can give a teaser about it, you know. My parents threatened to send me to military school despite the fact that I was making pretty good grades. You know. And it was like, wait a second, you people are batshit crazy. And I realized they're threatening to abandon me, and I realized that was an ongoing theme in their so-called parenting. And I was extremely frustrated with that. Because I was stifled. I knew I could not mention these things to them. I could not say, hey, assholes, you people threatened to abandon me when I was little. You threatened to... This was vile. It felt horrible. I just had to shut my mouth about that and everything else. And it's like, okay, well, great, you have shitty parents. Fantastic. Don't see them. I don't. But the rest of the world is kind of like this too, isn't it? You know, the military school incident, with whom can I talk about this stuff with? You know? With whom? Where is this? Where? you know. And the hopefulness sometimes comes back, you know, underlying all the negativity and the suicide stuff, and underlying all of that is still the hope comes back, you know. If it just got stuck in that suicidal mood or that despairing mood, oh my God, it's just, no, please end it now. That would be horrible. But like, even right now, it's like, okay, no, we could do something here. I mean, even intellectually, I realize there's not much hope for me. No, we could put some stuff out there, you know. I could at least put it in a good way that is, or I could talk about these sort of topics in a way. I could talk about these topics in a way, at least, that it's like, well, I gave it my best shot, you know. Well, I guess we shouldn't use such metaphors with suicide and all. Hang in there, kid. Give it your best shot. As you might be able to hear, it's kind of raining, but I'm not sure if that gets picked up, but yeah. And the other thing with what I liked about the, you know, with the voice recordings is that I'm doing now is there's I used to be a Catholic, right? There's a kind of confessional nature to these things where it's not just I get to say stuff and these things generally don't get uploaded. This one might be special, I don't know. But I don't have to, if it's a camera, it's like my face is there, and it's like, ugh, I don't want to deal with this, you know. But with this, it's just a voice recorder, you know. It's easier to sort of just say whatever is on your mind, you know. Well, that chair's going to be drenched. Anyways. I swear to God, like, the last time I was here to burn shit in yeah, this is Huntsville up here. Yeah, it's Huntsville. The last time I was here, well, the last time I was here to burn stuff in camp, yeah, it started raining like 10 minutes after the fire gets going, just massive rain. So much torrential rain. It rained probably rained about an inch in an hour. And then, lo and behold, because I just started the fire when the rain started, I take a peek outside after an hour, and the fire started back up. Apparently, I set such a great fire that even through all that rain, it came back. But I really know how to pick the days, you know. And I looked up the weather, and they're like, yeah. Anyways, what's my point? I do get kind of lost here. But, yeah, the confessional nature of these things, it's just, you know, but, I don't know. I think people are just kind of living their own lives. I use the metaphor, I think, the Chinamen. I mentioned the Chinamen. I think it was the sort of aborted attempt to sort of start talking on camera last May or last August or something, 2018. And you know, I should look at those videos again. I should probably timestamp them. They had some interesting things in them, maybe. But the idea with the Chinamen is that, you know, there's Chinamen on the other side of the world. They're doing their thing. It's like, I don't really care. They can do their own thing, but when do I get to do my thing? You know. Just I've never really found people. I mean, for the grero thing, I didn't really find anyone for that. And then talking about these deeper things, suicide stuff, military school incident, and 10,000 other woes. I don't know. Just never really found that. You know. And I tried. You know. I tried talking with people in high school about this, I remember, and it's like, nobody was interested. Nobody was interested, you know. It's like people have Stockholm Syndrome with this stuff. They put up with the abuse, or, I don't know, maybe I'm just a special snowflake who's particularly sensitive to this. But, I don't know. Another thing with the suicide stuff, because I do want to, yeah, I don't get to talk about this, so, well, even out, it'd be interesting to look back at my private recordings like these and say, when did the word come up first? Because it was a big step for me to do this audio journaling in the first place, and that started in 2014. Okay. Oh boy. Well, at least I'm glad this is now, not, in case it's not being picked up in the recordings, it's, the rain is picking up a little bit. It's not too bad, but... where was I? Yeah, it's just, and it's not even the suicide stuff is not this free floating thing. You know, it's just I got nothing going on. I did pretty well, and then I reached this plateau where no one else is here. Okay, all right. Everyone's doing their Chinamen things, and they can do their Chinamen things. It's just, you know, where are my people showing up? So. But yeah, the other thing is just with a specific suicidal mood, or the really despairing sort of mood, there's the total hopelessness mood that I had today. A lot of it is, if I can't fix something right now, even if it's some banal issue, like with the housing thing, it's like, that needs to be done. I need to find a new place, even if it's not going to solve all my problems. It's like, we need to make that step. Okay, we need to do that. So, because the houses I saw were kind of not so great, and so far there's only been one house, and that was snapped up very quickly, and even that's like, it's more like, okay, if it was the first really good house that I saw, and then there were like 5, 6 other ones, it's like, okay, I could see myself really wanting to buy those, and then wanting to, you know, wanting to actually... that it would be a good thing to get those, but these sort of generic looking ones I've seen, and I don't know, the neighborhood's still good and whatever, is it a step up from now? And in some cases, I don't know. You know, it didn't even seem better than what I have now, although I don't own Iran, but... So anyways, if I can't solve something quickly, then, you know, the anxiety hits. And then it's like, we got to fucking solve this. And part of it that I've looked at was, in some ways it's good. You know, when I was running my business and the servers were down, the anxiety was pumping. And that's good because that gets shit done. The problem, of course, is if we have these open-ended problems like, I have nothing to do with the rest of my miserable life. And I can't relate to anyone. And, you know, these sort of... very open-ended problems, well, they can't really be solved very quickly, you know? And I think that's what it's about. It's not the fucking house, you know? I think it's just, I'm especially more primed towards that, or towards feeling, or, I think it's coming up a lot more because, well, hold on, I'm just confusing myself. I don't like being shaken out of the normalcy of things anyways. And because I don't have anything going on, and this problem can't be solved very easily, you know, finding a house right now, it's not that easy, you know, then, you know, the anxiety just goes off and, you know, just hits that despairing mood. You know, you can't even say the word suicide. Yeah. It's like, but that's the other problem, is it's just so limiting to not be able to talk out loud about these things. You know? And again, that's the thing, is I don't want to be the guy who just, like, blurts it out, guess who wants to blow their brains out? Everyone pay attention to me. Like, that's not what it's about. You know? You know, football, remember the football, it has something to do with a guy I liked in high school. Well, guess who was told a couple of years later that I wanted to kill myself really bad? You know, and I look back at that, and we'll probably read the letter one day, maybe. And I can see that it came across extremely manipulative, like basically pay attention to me or I'm going to kill myself. At the same time, you know, I felt really bad about it at the time. And even at that time, I couldn't talk to anyone about these sort of things. So it's like, okay, go talk to someone about these mental issues. It's like, okay, challenge accepted. And then who the fuck is that I can talk to about these things? You know? And again, it goes back to the military school incident stuff. Is I started realizing my parents were kind of shitty. Then who can I? No, nobody wants to talk about that. I don't know. Maybe their parents are shitty, or they don't want to talk about this. It's Stockholm syndrome, or they're just wired differently, and they just put up with this, and they don't consider it abuse or whatever. But I just felt very frustrated with that. Is you bastards, you threatened to abandon me many times, and this was your parenting. Is we'll get you to do what you want by threatening to abandon you. That's my first memory of my mother. There we go. You know, is I was down by the creek where we used to live. And I remember I was still in a stroller, but I could walk by then. And, you know, and I think I was playing I think I got out of the stroller and I was doing this thing where I was putting my hands between the metal bars of the fence, trying to avoid the rose bush, right? You know, like, oh, look at how skillful I am. I was, what, 2 or 3? Probably 3. And my mother just started screaming at me on top of her lungs and everything, you know? And, you know, she threatened to send me to an orphanage and everything, and it was just shit like that, you know? And it wasn't even that it happened. It's that with the military school incident, that was what, sophomore year of high school. You know, I couldn't tell them that, wait a second, you people hurt me. Why are you doing this? Like, can we just not do this anymore? I knew I couldn't talk to them about it. You know? Or anything else. You know? Yeah, there's lots of loops and twists and turns here. And that's been the problem, is where do I start with these stories? Do I just start yelling about them? I guess. Is there something more coherent? I don't know. But anyways, I don't know. I mean, even in terms of just putting out a draft and putting some bullet points together, this would be good for that, but... Well, anyway, so let's this is still a proper review, so let's do, yeah, couldn't sleep last night, although did nap and wasn't that tired, but woke up at 10, went out to the new gym, you know, nice pool, it's a much nicer facility, I will absolutely grant them that, you know, much nicer, and... Yeah, I did my 30 minutes of swimming. That was fun. Sauna, steam room, a little bit of the jacuzzi. And what else? What else? Yeah, did you know, did the house hunting with the real estate agent. Didn't really see anything. You know, and that was a shame. I mean, there were some ones that were okay, but Do I want to get a house I don't like? And then it's like, I will have to do, you know, a house only video. I think even if this never sees the light of day, I think that's a good idea. Because I think at some point I do have to make a decision about this. You know, do I stay? No, I don't want to, but I can. You know, especially since I did start doing these videos and everything in that house. It's like, okay, it's kind of frustrating dealing with that, but maybe, I don't know. But would I want to move to a house that I don't really like? And is it rational for me to not like this? I mean, okay, it doesn't check everything off, but it's good enough, you know? Or some of them were good enough for, I don't know, you know? But it's just... You know, and then of course it comes up, you know, since the houses were not that great. It's like, well, what's the point of any of this, you know? Like, why keep struggling, you know? And then the suicide stuff. That's right. You know? And it was short, yeah, just to tie all this loose ends together. It's so loosey-goosey. How long have we been talking here? 30 minutes. See, this is great. Oftentimes these reviews are like 2-3 minutes. Once in a while you get longer ones, but, you know. But to tie the loose ends together, the military school incident, after that is when I first started wanting to kill myself, basically. I never made any attempts and whatever. That's when the thoughts always came. That's when the thoughts about it first started appearing. You know, it just became frustrating that, oh, I realized I can't talk to my parents. And I very consciously realized that. I realized they weren't good. I realized, oh, I can't talk to them about this. They're just going to be defensive asshats about this forever. And they weren't. Even when I try to bring it up later and some small, just the usual bullshit. You know, it's just, there's no soul there. They're just zombies, you know. Yeah, but that's around where, yeah, that's around, but again, it's not just the parents, it's everybody else. You know, if the world is so wonderful and everyone else is so wonderful, how come I can't talk to anyone about it? How come it's taken me, well, if this goes up, how come it's taken me 33 motherfucking years to, you know, talk about this out loud? How come? I don't think I'm some pathologically shy person who's just, oh, I can't say these things, and ugh. It's like, no, these are just topics that are very, you know, you're just avoided. You're not supposed to talk about these things. You know, maybe, oh, it's mental. Oh, I don't have time, you know, in the next week to elucidate my theories on so-called mental illness. But good Lord, if it's some kind of disease you have, oh yeah, you can talk about it. If it's some random thing, random depression and random suicide ideation, maybe you can talk about it then. But it's like, I don't find my life meaningful and you people suck, actually. You can't say that, you know, shockingly enough. and that's the thing is you know, I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm glad this is being recorded. Maybe I can, yeah, maybe I can draft this. Maybe I can put, I don't. But the point is, I have been thinking about this analogy. You know, it's like you have these people on these dating sites who are like 17,000 pounds, and they're like, well, I want a guy who's 6'17". He makes $30 billion a year, and he's single and 21. It's like, yeah, there's a mismatch there, you know? You're not really offering anything. You're not offering parity there. You're offering something that is, you obviously want something good, but you got nothing to offer. You're not reciprocating. I don't think with any of what I want in somebody, I don't believe that I'm really stretching here. Okay? I'm an athletic guy. I can still do 21 pull-ups max. Well, 23 is my max, but, you know, we'll have to videotape that one as well. That's more filler, content. And, you know, we'll do that. That's fun. We could do a couple garage casts as well, you know. We could do a couple garage casts as well. You know, but, okay, so I want someone who's relatively fit. Okay, well, I'm relatively fit. You know, I did, what, 2.5 hour hike? I can do more. I can walk for more than 2.5 hours, by the way. But I can swim. Okay, last spring it was. I didn't do it this spring. I did a challenge. Well, whatever. I did a lot of swimming last spring. Okay, so I was in very good shape then. You know, so it's like, okay, you know, every once in a while I get the hankering for a mile run and I get down to about 6 minutes. But okay, so I try on the physical level. I started a business. I did very well. That was fun. Okay, it doesn't have to be, you know, I don't have to find my long lost twin, but, you know, something along those lines would be good, you know. and someone who can speak about these issues, the whole emotional stuff, the whole family stuff, you know. And part of the hopelessness with that is there's a lot of stuff out there on it now. There's a lot of books on it. You know, Molyneux, if anybody listens to that guy, some of his earlier stuff was good on that, but none of that really went anywhere in terms of, it's not like you can show up somewhere and be like, oh, I understand these things, and so do you, so let's see, you know, I don't know. It's just, you know, am I really gonna explain these things better than other people already have? Because, you know, I guess I'm getting tired as well, but that's the helplessness, which is, I don't think this is gonna work, you know, which is, can I explain these things in a way that's better, more compelling, and find some like-minded people? And I think the answer is no. I think the answer is no. So it does feel like fighting a war that I've already lost. Which is, we can go through the motions. And it's like, alright, then fucking do that. Okay, then fucking do that. Have the passion to do these. And whatever. Or not. But it's this limbo of, okay, I'm not going to, like, kill myself right now. Probably not tomorrow either. But, you know, that's probably going to happen at some point, right? But then fucking do something about it. And put all these thoughts out there. You know? And, of course, it doesn't have to be perfect, even. And maybe this is it. Literally, this is it. Maybe this is where we start, because I've had such a hard time trying to introduce, you know, the whole suicide stuff, the despair. Like last year was the euphemism was what, despair or something, and it's like kind of hinting at that. Oh, and I really hated the fact that people are like, oh, you don't despair. Oh, things can, but that's bullshit. Sometimes they don't turn out well, you know. And that's part of it. It's like, no, sometimes I just want to wallow in fucking misery. I want to be miserable, okay? Because I am. You know? Anyways, I think, you know, I always say, oh, with some of these longer recordings, I've done it before. It's like, well, I think I'm done. And then we're at minute 37 and a half here. And I still go on for a little bit more. Let me just jog my brain. So yeah, and again, this doesn't have to go up. It can go in the private archives as usual. We can listen back and draft from it. I've done that once in a while as well. But those never go anywhere. It's like, oh, I talked about this, I'll talk about that, and I'll make this into a 17,000 video series. It's like, yeah, that's not going to work. You know? So yeah, but then just fucking do it, right? Like, okay, yeah, it's a long thing to put this together, and it's incoherent. It's, you know, I mean, the military school stuff was what, 2001, and there's stuff before then, because the whole military school thing, as I remembered, all the other threats of abandonment my parents had, right? So that goes back to when I was 3. That's 30 years, you know. But then just fucking do it. You know, it's just this helplessness of, oh, well, I can't put this out there, and okay, whatever. But it's just this limbo. It's like, okay, well, fucking kill yourself, shut up and do that. Well, I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, then fucking shut your whore mouth and do stuff where you talk about these things. You know? Well, I can't do that either, you know? And that's the absolutely miserable place to be in. That hopelessness, that helplessness, that absolute despair. Where it's like, okay, this isn't probably not going to work, but let's just try it anyways, right? I can't quite get there, you know? And then I get butthurt and upset about, oh my God, the house, the lease, and oh, just shut up, oh my God. You know, those are actually the more solvable problems, and I need to think of it that way. You know, but I do get wound up about those things quite a bit. I did record before I started putting up the videos on the YouTube channel. I did put some stuff up. I did start recording myself with video. My goodness, I don't think that should see the day of light, but light of day, day of light. But let me bring this recorder a little closer. I'm gonna lie down a little bit. This camping pad was a good investment, you know, this little mattress thing, because there's lots of, I don't know, these little balls that fall down from the trees during this time of the year. I can barely feel them, so. So yeah, it's just that limbo of, okay, so just do it. Just put these stories out there, and it's like, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work, and then I kill myself then. It's like, okay, so here's my mantra, you know, and it sounds like a joke, some kind of dark humor joke, but my mantra is, I don't have to solve all my problems today. I can always kill myself tomorrow, you see? And it's such a great mantra, because it's like, well, tomorrow is always tomorrow, so you can always postpone that. At the same time, I do end up, yeah, as I previously mentioned, I just end up, if I can't solve something right now, it just becomes the thing that has to be fixed, and I feel terrible and whatever until it's fixed, you know? And it's just all the catastrophizing and the anxiety about it. So it's like I get hung up on these little things that actually have always kind of solved themselves, or I could solve themselves. And I don't know. Maybe we'll have to talk about that later, I guess. I'm not quite 100% on those. You know, I could just be a person who just, I don't know, wants to fix stuff quick, and the anxiety and all that stuff just comes up. And that's not entirely related to what do you call it, the whole, you know, meaninglessness and nothing to do with my life and, well, that whole shit. But it was also, speaking of burning, I did burn stuff today, as I mentioned. A lot of it was just receipts and stuff. I burned some old stuff as well. Some old report cards as well. I scanned them all in, so I have them, but I think the only paper copies I kept of anything was my high school diploma and my SAT scores. 1450, in case you were noticing, or in case you were wondering. See, that's the thing. It's, oh boy, are we going to go off on another tangent? Yes, it's tangent time. So, 1450 now, it's out of 1600, because I know they changed it to 20, or what was it? I should know, because it's triple times 6. Triple 10. I scored high on the SATs, that's my point. But 1450, 730 verbal, 720 math, right? So it's like, okay, part of the issue is it that I'm just so fucking smart? And it's like, yeah, maybe a little bit, but it's not like 1450 is that high, you know? I'm not some savant. So that's the other thing about it, is I'm smart, but not that smart, you know? I started a business, you know? That did well. Antcon Arcade, look it up. ANDKON.com. But it's like, okay, that did well. So I'm smart enough, but a way of looking at it is, okay, so it's not like my intelligence is so stellar. In a country of, what, 320 million people now, there must be, you know, millions of people who are either smarter than me or around this sort of intelligence. I measured, it was, now there's some difficulties. Some people are like, well, the SATs passed 95. I took it in 2003. Well, they're not really IQ tests anymore, and oh my god, I don't know. But generally, the conversions have landed me in the 140 category. Now, that's pretty high, but it's not that high. It's like that's 1 out of 300 range. And it's not like 130 is just beneath me and, oh, I could never hold a conversation with those people. So it's like, okay, we're talking 1 out of 300, 1 out of, people a little smarter, people a little less smart, IQ-wise. That's still millions of people. So it's like, okay. And that's part of also the despair, which is, okay, I'm not that fucking special. Let's cut that bullshit out, right? So millions of people, similar intelligence. Okay, well, the Grero thing, you're kind of, you don't fit in with the gay stuff. You don't fit in with the gay stuff, so you don't fit in with the straight stuff. So, okay, even if we say that's 1 to whatever percent, it used to be 90 in case you read the book, but whatever. Okay, so we're still talking millions, and even if you say, all right, it's got to be kind of intelligent on my level, okay, can do a few push-ups and pull-ups, and it's like, there still should be thousands and tens of thousands of people like this. So part of it is hopefulness of, okay, maybe I just haven't found the right people. But the hopelessness of it is maybe the math is just wrong, and yeah, it's just, there's no one else, I was thinking of the numerator and denominator stuff. It's like, all right, so, I put stuff up online like this. How many people, absolute maximum can listen to it and understand it in terms of like English language? Well, that's about, 2 billion people. Now, obviously, there's not going to be 2 billion. Every English speaker in the whole world's not going to be listening to it. But it's a good pool to draw from. Because it's like, what's the numerator? It's like, well, if you say, well, it'd be nice, you could have a couple people around, you could have a community, that sort of thing. That's what, 1,000 people, 10,000, 100? That still is a very tiny percentage out of 2 billion. So where are those people? Right? And it's like, oh, right, still haven't found them. Still can't talk. Yeah, okay, what percent, can do push-ups? What percent are smart enough? What percent get the military school stuff that I talked about? How many people realize their parents kind of suck and don't make excuses for it? And just realize the pain of that, and that, oh, I'm not like this. Like, I can't do this. I'll have to flesh that out a bit more. But that's also, again, just to go back, I'm skipping around and skipping back and forth, but that's fine. It's like, there's plenty of books on shitty parents and how, I think I referenced them when I was looking at the books. And it's like, okay, am I going to write a better book than that? And you look at the reviews of those books, there's been thousands of people who've said, oh, I like this book worked out great for me. It's like, is there a group where I can meet these people and at least talk to them about that? Or what's going on, It just seems like very slim pickings. Well, anyways. Well, the great thing with this is I can flip on the recorder anytime I want. And, yeah, I think I'm drained in a good way. I didn't sleep the night before. The hiking was great. The hopefulness to some degree has come back, but, it's gone in 2 minutes again. And okay, the last thing we'll leave on, because a lot of these things have been swimming around in my head over the last couple of weeks of what could I talk about, and with the videos, and a lot of it is this sort of, I don't know if it's a professional term, but it's this sort of anticipatory anxiety, or it's the fear of bad things happening later. Now, that's not a bad trade, because if people don't fix shit, bad things do happen later, right? But with the not finding a house just yet and all this, the anticipation is what? I'm gonna like be homeless? I don't think so. And oh, where the hell was I going with this? Well, maybe one day I'll figure out where I was going with the anticipatory anxiety stuff. It's an anticipation of bad things coming, so you gotta fix stuff now. And again, it's helpful. If you're anxious, you fix it. But if it's stuff that can't be fixed, then it's just awful. I was going somewhere else with this, but again, I'm kind of tired and yeah. Yeah, we'll leave it there, and hopefully I can fall asleep, and yeah, it'll be a good day too. Well, what am I doing tomorrow? That is part of these reviews, is on my way back down, I'll go back to the new gym. I'll swim there, and I guess I'll go back to my boring, mind-numbing normalcy. I don't know, I can do some stuff around the house. I did, what do you call it, leaf blew out the... Leaf blow it... what that does not have a proper verb. I used the leaf blower to get all the leaves out of the garage, because they go in there. So the yard's pretty cleaned up, actually. I cleaned the grill as well, so... I think I'm actually as caught up with the yard as I want to be, so... And it's... I guess with the anticipatory anxiety, okay, I think it's that, what, things aren't that bad. It's like, I'm not homeless. I am living in a tent right now, but that's totally by choice. And I could live in this tent, And even the house, it's like, okay, if there is something worth living for, if there are people around, I could live in a tent. I would trade all of that for living in a tent. I honestly would. As long as I got to keep this camping pad. It's nice and comfortable. The sniffles are still not gone, but it's been like the longest minor cold I've had. It's like, what, like 2 weeks now? I can do everything except like snot is running from my nose all the time. Aren't you glad the video is not on, right? So, anyways, what's my point? I think I had a good thought or two left. So, yeah, but it always goes back to, okay, idiot, then put these fucking videos out there, then talk about these things. Like, right now, regardless of whether this is going up or what, it's like, I think I'm having good talking here. And it gets better. Oh, it gets better, indeed. I think it gets better in terms of, I could dissect each of these things, There are a lot of different topics in here, so yeah, it is, there's a lot, it's a gold mine of sorts. But it's just stop worrying about the little shit and realize that, but it's like, okay, stop worrying about the little shit, like the house stuff, the yard stuff. Sure, but that's just a part of a bigger problem, right? I have nothing else to do in my life, so it's easier to just automatically obsess about those stupid things that don't matter. And then I obsess about things that do matter, and there's no resolution to that, is there now? Everyone kind of goes on with their Chinamen lives, They get married, they have kids, and it's like, okay, I'm not opposed to that. I could see some circumstances in which I could have some kids, but boy, that would require, having some purpose, having a group of people around that I'd want to be around and want to have kids around, that sort of thing. And that just ain't looking like it's gonna happen. And on that lovely note, well, no. On that lovely note, let's end this, and the podcast, not my life, or whatever I'm doing with this. Yeah, it's just, I have a lot to say, but again, it just goes back to what's the point? Then put it out there. Just put it fucking out there, okay? You know. But then it's well, what's the point? Then see that it didn't work, and then it didn't. Because part of it I thought was the reason I don't put it out there is by dragging out the clock this way, I don't have to face failure. That if this fails, yeah, I'm probably not going to live, okay? The idea that, you know, yeah, and that's, I think, why I've sort of procrastinated from doing this in some way. I think that's the only story I can tell myself that makes much sense, is by avoiding doing this, you know, I'm one step. Well, if I start doing this and I fail, then that's a massive shock, that's a massive failure, and then I kill myself, right? That's, I think, the big fear. That's why I haven't done these things, you know? I don't think I have much shame about, oh, you know, I feel this way, or, you know, I don't, you know, I don't think it's that. I don't, well, do we want to start on that? We're going to start on that, yes, we will. A lot of what I don't like about a lot of the therapy-oriented stuff is they assume people, and maybe they do, people have these sort of it's not self-inflicted, that's another term, that's another pairing, that like shaming, where they kind of, I don't know, hurt themselves. I have a good phrase for this that I made up. Not self-inflicted, well, it's not coming to me, but the point is that things like shame and kind of self-hatred and these things, is I never had these. Ever since I realized, you know, there's no God to hate about the same-sex stuff when I was 17 and stopped being a Catholic, I haven't really hated myself, I think. You know? Like, maybe, you know, when I call myself an idiot just 2 minutes ago, but that's not, I look at that as just banter. I don't look at that as some attack. I don't feel it as an attack. You know? It's more of a kind of playful frustration of, this makes no sense, this limbo. Either fucking kill yourself or fucking put this out there. This is not fucking complicated. You know, this miserable limbo is not good to be in. I don't think that's self-attack. So a lot of the therapy stuff that you read online, a lot of the stuff, there's some podcasts about it, it assumes people are like that, and maybe they are, and that's even more alienation, you know? You know? It's just, oh, even these people don't get it. Or, well, maybe it's for them, but not for me. Self. What kind of emotion? It's not self-flagellating, I guess, would be one, but that's not the word I use. I don't know. I'm sure it'll come up later, but I just don't have that, you know. And yeah, I need to go sleep. So we'll just end on that. There's lots of things to think about here. Maybe this will go up. Maybe this is, you know, I sleep on the videos generally as well. So I'll sleep on this. I'll review it again. I'll do timestamps, and if it goes up, it goes up. If this is the introduction, you know, to these topics, we just rip off that Band-Aid, and I don't try to micromanage, you know, that, and then you know, congratulations, you're listening to the first one of the sort of real uploads, I guess, where I talk about the things I actually want to talk about. Oh, here we go. Let's make this longer. Right, so, well, no. Well, I'm sure it'll come up. So I just want to go to bed.